Today I'm here with Sergeant Ed Fox, Lunch with a Hero, and Sergeant Ed Fox served in the Marines and is kind of a local celebrity around here at the Legion. At least that's what the commander, Mike Goforth, wanted to let me know about. So first off, thank you for taking your time with me. And when did you get into the service?
First joined, put the uniform on in 1938.
1938? How old were you?
I was just turned, I was going to turn 16 in another month.
Wow.
And that was during the Depression era.
Uh-huh. And were you born and raised in this area?
That was in Chicago, Illinois.
In Chicago? So you're a Chicago boy?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That was the Illinois National Guard.
Wow.
And what impressed me to do that is what our country didn't do anything when they sank the Panay in the Yangtze River.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, well, I'd join the damn army.
You do it yourself.
I'd go out there. But
I think that's something that's lost on a lot of kids these days is nobody has that kind of feeling anymore about things. And I think that's it's a shame because a lot of guys felt the exact same way you do and continue to, but just not on the same scale. And I don't think we'll ever see that again, which is unfortunate. So 1938, Chicago.
They had horses. I liked horses. I helped my dad in his work with horses. And they were looking for a groomer and somebody to take care of the horses stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I was probably part of the 40 and 8.
Okay.
And that's 40 men in a boxcar or 8 horses.
Wow.
So whenever I traveled with the National Guard, had 8 horses and all the room I wanted. But the horses pull the caissons and artillery pieces. And
Can you have been able to see that progression
transition
from when you enlisted, they were still using horses.
Yeah.
Now they're using drones, flying up in the sky, and a soldier will never even have to go into that area.
Yeah.
Just the world is going so fast. That's incredible to me. So 1938, and then obviously, how long were you in the service for?
I retired in '66.
Okay, a long time.
When I left Chicago with our family, we went to Omaha, Nebraska.
Uh-huh.
And there I transferred to an ambulance unit,
Okay.
National Guard. And still they hadn't done anything about the Panay. So in 1941, 6 months before the World War II started, I went into the Marine Corps in 1941. If you want to see something, we're going to edit this anyhow. Right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. This is during Depression era.
Yeah,
Streetcars, families in need then,
yeah,
now.
yeah.
The birth certificate tells when we were born, and a marriage certificate when we were married, and a death certificate when we died. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And I do this for the senior citizens.
Uh-huh.
They like this.
Tell me, do you remember anything about, Chicago Depression era, you hear, you think Al Capone, the gangsters and stuff. Do you remember anything from that period?
I used to deliver groceries to his house.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He was a friend of mine.
Wow.
He used to come to our house with turkey and ham, whatnot, to give to my mother a couple of days before holidays.
Do you have any memory of him?
Sure.
There is stories about him, and I think the stories.
He's Robin Hood of Chicago.
Yeah, but the stories become bigger than the man eventually.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you got to remember that he was a man. He's a family man, and like you said, a friend. So what sticks out to you about him?
What sticks out to him? When his opponents would drive by his house and machine gun his house, we'd go up there the next day with ice picks, us kids, and pick out the slugs out of the front of the house.
Oh my God!
So we'd give him the slug. We got a silver dollar for each time one of those happened. This is where he lived.
Oh wow! It's pretty modest. I mean,
Yeah.
Now it definitely would be modest. Back then, I'm sure it was a different story. But it's not like you would imagine. You think, or at least the way Hollywood would make you believe that he lived in a huge gated area and stuff. That's just a house.
when he would see me, or some of his men would see me going to school in the bad weather or going home, they'd stop with their car and pick me up, take me to school. And they'd always drive up to that front door of that school with that car. That car was known in Chicago. Everybody would ask me what was inside there, and I would never tell them.
No, and that's probably why they kept giving you a ride.
Well,
And you probably, yeah.
shotguns.
I bet nobody messed with you in school.
No.
That's incredible. Incredible.
But I worked in grocery stores when I was 11 years old. Mm-hmm. And I cleaned windows, I stocked the store shelves, cleaned the floors, and made deliveries when asked.
10 cents an hour.
Yeah.
No sick leave. 10-hour work schedule. Golly. That's incredible. That's some cool stuff.
Learned to saddle my own horse and
Yeah.
go out there and help my dad and the ranchers.
Oh, that's crazy. That's awesome. So how far would you go? I mean,
Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska,
wow.
and he was an order buyer.
Yeah.
My dad. And he would convince the ranchers that he would sell his cattle for them. So that would be 1,200, 1,500 head of cattle. So they would come in, and I would help load them in the chutes wherever they were, and I was in charge of one boxcar
Wow.
when I was traveling with them. And I traveled in the caboose.
Yeah.
My dad would drive back home. Had never had any problems,
That's
not
incredible.
like today. And when the engineer would find out I was back there, well, then he would have me come up, and I'd ride with him up in the cab,
Yeah.
shovel coal,
He'd make you work.
blow the whistle, great car. It was a ball.
That's awesome. So then you enlisted in the National Guard at 15, and then you moved to the Marines, would you say 2 months before World War II broke out? And then did you go to Europe or the Pacific?
I went always in the Pacific.
You were in the Pacific the whole time?
And I began as a photographer. I was
Oh, wow.
interested in newspaper work.
Oh, okay. So journalist. It's kind of like what I do, but I just play music.
Had the old type 4x5 speed graphic cameras and so forth.
Yeah. My best friend's a photographer, so he actually, I think the last year of his school, he did stuff like that, developing and all that stuff. It's very cool. Very cool.
And I worked in the drugstore near our home as a soda jerk. From there, went in the Marine Corps, and that's another story. When I went into the Marine Corps, and I was coming out of Iwo Jima,
Okay.
and I got to Hawaii, I got mail. And the mail said, "Ed, you must be doing something that the Japanese don't like, because they try to bomb your store."
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'll show you what happened.
So what was their response or your response?
I have it here.
Huh?
I have it here.
Wow. So that's where the soda shop
That
used
was
to
the
be.
soda fountain, It's still there. The building is still
Yeah.
there. And there's a monument about this incident.
Oh, wow.
And there, a plaque now.
A plaque.
Yeah. And while I was in Chicago, on the weekends when I didn't work at the store, I worked in the stockyards.
Okay.
And I cleaned out.
God, you were a busy guy.
Well, as a depression, you had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, but you think about all the distractions that kids have these days.
We didn't
you guys
have
didn't have those, so what you work.
We didn't have drugs and all
Yeah.
that shit,
You just worked.
You know.
That was it.
So in good weather, I got anywhere from 10 to 15 cents, 25 cents a pen. to clean those pins out.
Oh,
for the cattle.
wow.
On rainy weather, something else.
Money went back to the family, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well,
Engagement. Wow.
but I don't know how that got in there. I was on Mount Suribachi when the flag was raised.
In Iwo Jima?
Yeah.
That's incredible. Do you want anything about that?
We'll get to it
Okay.
later. But this is the balloon that came in over the United States,
Uh-huh.
and the Japanese had a fantastic signature on that thing, so it knew when to drop down.
Yeah.
Were not aware, and our meteorology people not aware of the jet stream. The Japanese were.
Uh-huh. They knew exactly what it was
Yeah.
at the time. Yeah.
Well, that's how the balloon was made. It was
And
made
it
by
traveled.
kids and families.
Jeez Louise.
Several thousand of those suckers came out over the country, like so. And that's where they landed. They only had one incident where it caused a death. And a church
Wow.
led by a preacher with children in the forests of northern part of the United States found this balloon sitting in the, so they knew about the intelligence in it. So they picked it up and dragged it in and went off
Oh, wow.
and killed a bunch of
And
them.
that was the only time.
The one that landed on my store set fire to the roof. There was a passenger, pedestrian, saw it come down, notified the fire department. So there was hardly any damage done to the store.
Wow.
But they joked then, they were after Ed Fox.
Why did you ever figure out why?
Just coincidence.
And yeah, coincidence.
But that's the typical construction of a balloon. And at certain times, one of those bags of sand would drop off.
As time goes by. God, that's ingenious.
There was mechanisms there.
And it looks so archaic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it looks like it could have been made in the 1800s. That's incredible.
The kids at their plant doing this, did all this with research, obviously. And that's the takeoff in Island of Kyushu and some of the places. I ended up in occupation duty in those places.
And saw where they were coming from.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Had a lot of silly things happen on the West Coast. The balloons would be sighted, so they'd call Civil Air Patrol. Civil Air Patrol come up and look for it and say, aha. So then they notify the Air National Guard. They'd come up and get lost and drive through one of the damn balloons and crash. They had screw-up times.
Well, also, they were learning about it too, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah. And that's the plot.
Dundee bombed in World War II. In the sky over 50th and Underwood, a Japanese balloon bomb exploded. April 18, 1945. The incendiary device flared brightly in the night but caused no damage. The Japanese military hoped the device would create an incident which it reported would allow them to chart a course for other weapons. That's actually another ingenious plan, because they would know where they were sending them. This is where populated people are, because they didn't have satellites, so they were using, this was an early version of satellite.
And their version was going to be biological.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chemicals.
Wow. They didn't even know about, oh, that's incredible. And the other ingenious part about that is that up until World War II, the Japanese only worried about what was east of them. They never came after us. That was the first time that they actually went west. And for a country that was an imperialistic country that was completely shut off from the rest of the world for the most part, unless they were invading you.
Well, we cut their oil off. That's what.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, though. That's insanely ingenious for them to figure that out and use that.
Never underestimate your enemy.
No, never. That's incredible.
But I spend my time talking about my friends, our veterans deserve recognition because I came from a popular war. Everybody in the country was helping us. There was no boots, excuse me. There was no
Okay.
You say what you want.
stomping feet, spitting on servicemen or whatnot.
You guys were heroes, as everyone should be.
Yes,
Oh, you know that.
Okay. Do you want to order? I just didn't
No,
want you to
no.
be wet. You don't want anything? Are you sure?
yes, dear.
Okay, just a little
I want to help
snack?
him.
Well, you are, but
Okay.
just a little something? If you change your mind right
I
now.
will.
Okay.
That's literally the purpose of why I do this. My stepfather is military. My best friend is. My uncles were. My grandfathers were. So I was lucky enough to be able to find my dream early and go after it. You know what I mean? Which was always music. Yeah, it's a big deal. Let me read that.
Go right ahead.
After 2.5 years in the National Guard and still no call to even up the score for the sinking of the USS Panay, right? Mm-hmm. And how do you pronounce that?
Panay.
Panay in the
Yangtze River.
Yangtze River. I decided to enlist in the United States Marine Corps. Walking into the Marine recruiter's office and stating I wanted to join the Corps, the sergeant threw me out and told me to come back when I knew how to dress better. The next day I tried again and again. I was told to get out of my office and don't ever dress like that, some dog face. I finally wised up, get rid of that army shirt and pants on the 1st of June 1941. Dressed in civilian attire, I was accepted into the Corps. That's funny. That whole thing goes back forever, doesn't it? That's hilarious. That's so funny.
Where's all this going to
Me? What I do is I'll take it back. I'll edit the whole thing, and then I'll put it on the full thing on YouTube. I have an account with YouTube, and I can upload the full thing. And then tomorrow morning, I'll edit probably about 2 to 3 minutes out of this so I can air it. Usually, but then I always say go listen to the full thing because I can't. We're real short in our breaks the way the station's built. So
what station is this?
104.7 The Cave, classic rock station. Older stuff, like 67 to 85.
I used
Basically.
to have a program on KTDS when I was
Really?
a recruiter here in Springfield.
Oh, really?
Called Mr. Army.
Oh, really? Or KT's been around for. They were the first AM, I think, or FM. Excuse me.
It was a half-hour program. Mm-hmm. And I'd get on there and tell about the programs, and the Army recruiters would call in trying to disguise themselves as a possible recruit and try to trip me up.
Catch you tripping.
Yeah, no.
That's great. So anyway, we can continue with this. Sorry.
Darn.
And I did not realize at the time, but I was being taught the most important subjects in my life: how to stay alive.
No.
You had to learn how to sing while you were in boot camp? Really? What songs?
Oh, the Marine Corps hymn, obviously.
Yeah.
Because if you screw up, you had to
That's
stand
the
there
only
and
one you
sing
need
the
to
Marine
know.
Corps hymn, if you did something wrong, sing the Marine Corps hymn.
Yeah. Went to Camp Pendleton. And you were assigned as a novice machine gunner.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, keep in mind, this is before World War II existed. And then December 7th, 41 happened. Yep.
Pearl.
Yeah, Pearl
This is a
Harbor.
Japanese photograph.
Wow.
This is their planes coming in here, dropping a torpedo. And
You can see
Pearl.
the other one. Yeah. Wow.
North Island blowing up.
Yeah.
This is what Pearl Harbor looked like when we arrived during that period of time.
So you guys were the first to get there?
We left Japan. We left the United States before Christmas.
Yeah, so a couple weeks after.
There was a company of us
Yeah.
going aboard ship.
God.
And scuttlebutt aboard the ship was that we were going to go attack Japan and get even. A company of us in a troop ship. Ridiculous rumors. But halfway to Pearl, then we realized we might go to Wake Island and reinforce Wake Island.
Yeah.
And when we got to Pearl, which was 2.5 days later, well, then we heard that Wake had fallen. So where were we going? No one knew about Midway yet.
Yeah. Wow.
Pearl. No, everything I'm telling you is online. If you ever put my name up, Edgar R. Fox, USMC, Battle of Midway, it's all there.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's the island.
Wow.
2.5 square miles, 6 foot above sea level. Moon was right in high tide. Our positions were damp.
Yeah, I bet.
This is from Japanese files again. The Japanese took this
Wow.
one. It has 3 islands. Sand Island over here and Eastern Island. And in the island, the center is called Spit Island, a small island.
It's super
But they
small.
believe that soil or coral was when they dredged the channel and piled up there. I was positioned on the southern tip of Sand Island, a machine gun position. My residential area that I had to take care of was the sand area out here in front and the beach. Typical type machine gun. This was stock footage, but
Yeah.
not Marine Corps. But that's what kind of machine gun I had, 30
Wow.
caliber. On the island, we had searchlights. And at night, if you were walking patrol and you heard these generators crank up behind you, well, you got the hell out of that area.
Oh, yeah.
Quick, because then they would bring the searchlight up on the mound and illuminate the area where radar had picked up the submarine. But by the time they would get that light lit and get pointed at, the sub had already fired through the
Yeah.
rounds.
Dude, yeah. So you knew that was a preemptive. Get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are cool little ducks.
Those are Laosan albatross.
Okay.
And probably the most graceful bird that you had ever seen in the air. But on land, clumsy and comical. They land and take off like an airplane.
Wow.
They mate lifetime. They have one nest and they return to the nest all the time.
Okay.
They fly from Midway to the Aleutian Islands and they don't stop. They don't land. When they come back, they have them tagged and they're in the air sometimes for 3 or 4 months.
Evolution. Incredible, huh? And that, I mean, because their nests stay on that island, correct?
Yeah.
Nowhere else in the world, right? I mean, that's incredible.
Maybe a little atoll.
Yeah,
outside.
but really to that area, yeah,
There's
incredible.
a little over probably 2 million of them there on the island now. And I'm going out there June, excuse me, May of next year
In
for the
2017.
75th anniversary.
Wow,
I was there for the 70th,
wow.
and I bragged then I'd be back.
And you man of your word.
So they're holding it to me. There was only 2 of us able to attend then. The other guy's a colonel. He's having mental problems, I understand. It's typical. I don't know if he's going to make it or not.
Yeah.
But they offered to fly my daughter and me out there.
Wow.
So the 75th ought to be something else. And this is not for publicity, but we're going to make a documentary about the marine monuments in the Pacific.
Okay.
It's going to be funded by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
So they know that I participate in school events and talk about World War II and things in the Pacific. So they're lining up a school, and it's going to be Hillcrest, and we're working with R12 school system and Mrs. Bledsoe is setting it up. So we're going to have Opera Communications.
Okay, Opfer. Yeah, Opfer. Yeah,
They're
yeah, know
going to
those
come
guys.
in and they're going to tape it.
Tape the whole thing. Great
And
company.
then they're going to send the tape back to Hawaii. It's going to be edited. They're going to turn it over to the Navy. The Navy is going to use it with some other footage. And on June the 4th, 1942, they're going to have a live feed from Midway Island back to the country
Wow, that's great.
for a documentary for public service.
That's cool. That's awesome.
So that's what that's about.
That's cool.
And
birds.
this particular bird is shreve tail. There's a full scientific name for it, but it moans. There's a moaning sound, and you'll bring it up online.
All right, I'll check it out.
Moan. And I have all this on my big computer.
Mm-hmm.
But you have that bird and the other birds that join in on the chorus, and that thing starts off. And you have a
Massive lightning storm.
massive lightning storm
Yeah.
out there, and you're on patrol, and the barbed wire goes into the water and out of the water and around the island. So the barbed wire glows once in a while when the lightning strikes near wherever you are. So this moaning bird going on, the lightning strikes,
Yeah.
whatnot.
That is a
Gets
creepy
little-
place.
gets a little eerie, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. I had to drag to convince myself I was never going to have people cross my path.
Yeah.
I drug brush behind me, so in the sand. So when I walk back, boy,
You'd look
I
and
could
see. Yeah.
But this moaning bird would just tear the hell out of you. You take the safety off your weapon,
Yeah.
almost, because you were alerted to somebody probably sneaking around the
Yeah.
island.
It's a damn bird.
And that's what it looked like
That's
in those
you,
days.
huh?
Mhm.
Wow.
We sank 2 of those, shot down 2 of those in a week.
Yeah.
That is the battle plan.
Of Midway.
The Japanese were attacked the Aleutian Islands on 3 June as a diversion.
Because they were wanting to go for Midway.
So they were after Midway. And from Midway, then they were going to attack Hawaii.
Again, but they wanted to use that as a supply point.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, if they'd have taken Hawaii, that would have really screwed up the European conflict.
Yep. Would have.
Because we open up from the Aleutians to Panama Canal. And where are we going to find a big enough force to defend that? So,
Yeah. They all come back.
you know,
Sorry, Britain. And France and Italy.
but I have it covered up. But we had a PBY spot by chance 2 ships on June the 3rd. And these 2 ships, one was a destroyer, one was an oiler. Through historical records and research, they found out that the oiler had broken down in the convoy that was coming
To get it?
east. So the destroyer stayed with the oiler. When they repaired the engine and started it up, they had to race fast, so the smoke and the wake and whatnot gave them away. Our plane then decided that they were headed for the main force. So they did find the main force out front by this fluke that happened over there. So they
Thank God it happened.
Yeah. So the alerts went out. Our planes took off from Midway.
Wow.
This is the Japanese carrier.
Uh-huh.
This is a Zero, a more efficient aircraft than ours. And the pilots were all experienced. We had no experienced pilots because they had already 4 years combat. On June the 4th, at 5 minutes after 7, Japanese attacked the island. The attack lasted 17 minutes. And we shot down 10 of their planes. Our planes that went up, called CAP, Cover Air Patrol, none of our planes made it back.
Wow.
This is our carriers taking off. This is what the Japanese
Carrier look
carriers
like.
look like. This is what happened to them later on, because once we began the attack on the Japanese carriers, the fence changed to offense.
Yeah.
The Japanese quit attack. They had to defend themselves.
And they had to run.
And on the night of June the 4th, our submarine, USS Tambor, Tambor, was online, was on patrol west of the island at night. They were told there was friendlies in the area, be careful. So he could hear the engines. So he surfaced at night, and he surfaced not knowing it right in the middle of the Japanese fleet. They're all in silhouette around him, not knowing what ships they were. He didn't use his head too well. He brought a signalman up on the bridge and signaled to one of the Japanese ships, identify yourself.
Yeah.
Well, shit hit the fan. He found out who the hell they were. He immediately crashed dove. But the ironic thing there, a fluke. Nobody chased him. He expected destroyers would be dropping deck.
They probably thought he was a ploy.
Yeah, they dropped down. They really knew, the Japanese now knew who the hell he was. And there was 2 heavy cruisers headed in that convoy to bombard Japanese, to bombard the island where I was. Sand Island for the invasion. These 2 cruisers in panic T-boned. One cruiser T-boned the other. Took them offline right off the bat.
Wow.
And they were going to sink because they were sinking. They were leaking oil and so forth. So that canceled that out.
Yeah.
Our planes, our torpedo bombers, and our depth charges and whatnot attacked the Japanese fleet. This is one of the cruisers that didn't make it. And this is the Yorktown that's going down. And I didn't have a sequence. And this is the Yorktown, okay? And I skipped something. This is the Henneman. The destroyer came alongside, but they had been chasing a submarine recently, within the past half hour. All the depth charges were lined up on their fantail to go over the side. When the Yorktown signaled they had men in the water now, so they put up alongside the Yorktown. Japanese submarine out here spotted him, fired 2 torpedoes. One hit the Yorktown again, and one hit the destroyer, cutting it in half. And the destroyer sank where the depth charges went off, with all the men in the water.
Oh, wow.
From what Marines were buried, killed that we picked up on the island and our flight afloat, while we buried them at sea. But like that, and the Navy did that. In the crux of the battle of the aircraft carriers, the Japanese aircraft carriers, our torpedo planes went after them. There was 17 planes in the squadron. When they lined up on the carriers and fired their torpedoes, not one torpedo hit their target. Every one of them malfunctioned. And they were so determined to get in on that carrier. The Japanese were flying cover for their carriers. They left the cover and went after those torpedo planes. That's when the planes from the Midway Island then attacked the carrier and sank it.
Gotcha.
When I talked to the class today, I have them bring their iPhones and put them
On the table?
on the table. And I have a printout. I make a print up email, VJJ mail.
Yeah.
And I have that alongside of it.
So, so they can
So
see
I
the
talk about
difference.
the comparison.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I give it to them as a souvenir.
yeah,
I took 30 days for stuff like that to get home and get
yeah.
back.
Oh, yeah.
The censors would read our mail and black out what we couldn't talk about. And had we failed at the Battle of Midway, they never would have had the...
Omaha would have never happened. Golly. It's incredible. That's a memorial.
at the memorial at Midway Airport,
Okay.
Chicago. And that is now behind TSA.
Yeah.
Before, it was out to the public.
Yeah.
But it's a month.
That's-
Hanging above it now is a SBD dive bomber. And everybody that was involved in that particular operation of what they covered, I'm the only one alive today.
Wow. That's incredible.
And I go on and talk about
The women's involvement and
What the
stuff.
women did back in the-
everyone,
doing their thing,
this whole country.
how they worked in timber, got the logs down the river and so forth, to get them into the mill. Worked in aircraft plants.
You know what's crazy is I take out women to lunch here, and almost every one of them had super high scores and were almost all intelligent. Isn't that incredible?
From what was their background fields?
I beat one of them was like in retail, and she just wanted to do it and went into the Navy. And and one of them, she came from a military background, and she wanted to be a nurse, and they're like, no, you're going to be intelligence. And it just kind of stood out to me, because I've been doing this almost a year now. It's going to be a year next month, and it's important. Everyone, you know what I mean? It's incredible.
I have a niece that was sharp in high school, so military heard about it. Sent her to school, language school, in Russian.
Wow.
So she sat in a listening station, and they would code words, so that if the code word popped up, they talked about device. Soon the tape would start to stop, cranking off, and they'd start recording, and she'd listen in.
That's incredible. That was during the Cold War, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. But I talk about the North Platte, Nebraska canteen. Few people ever today know.
North
anything
Platte
about it.
Canteen.
And all the troop trains going from the East Coast to the West Coast traveled through North Platte, Nebraska.
Okay.
As soon as they knew that the troop train was coming, the counties around would line the tracks with tables and food and whatnot.
That's cool.
And when the troops got off the train, they'd feed them chicken.
Yeah, home cooked meals and stuff. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Oh, wow. That's awesome. There's a thing that says, I want to thank the mother that gave me a shoebox of fried chicken, fresh tomatoes, an ear of corn, napkins, and a note that says, please come home to your mother. God bless you. That's incredible. That's incredible.
And then I'd go on to Iwo.
Yeah. Iwo Jima.
When they formed the convoy, it took 90 days to form the convoy, to put everything together. And there was something like 1,200 to 1,400 ships in the convoy. And what I marveled at, how in the hell did they know which ship to be first and second, with all the logistics that was, the planning when this was fantastic.
Yeah, they had to have been. Yeah.
But I went in on this beach, and I wasn't supposed to go in until the second day. But the losses were so heavy when it moved us up.
Yeah.
But I was a forward observer then.
What's that mean?
Forward observer?
Yeah.
Okay, I was with the infantry, and I spotted their targets. They were holding them down, and my team then would call back to our artillery.
Say, come on, it's good.
And bring it on.
Gotcha. Tough place to be.
I always was protected. I had
Yeah, that's true.
I was lucky.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And so I talk about my friends today. Going over the side of a ship and conditions that you have no control over, and going down that net to get in that landing craft is something else right there.
Yeah.
But That's what it looked like.
No. Wow. Look at all those ships.
Those were all landing craft.
Yeah.
When we got, can't imagine how to describe how you feel going in the shore like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the landing craft next to us took a direct hit, and parts of the remains of the men that were in the boat landed in our boat.
Wow.
Sorry about you.
Yeah.
When I got on the island and got forward and started to move forward, I lost track of my people that I was supposed to be with. Didn't know where the hell they were. So I just said, well, just keep going. And I stepped over a man that was doing something with another Marine. And his ear was gone. And I said, hey man, you need a corpsman. And what stuck out to me is, I am a corpsman.
Oh, wow. God. Wow. I mean, you know what's interesting is you see these photos that you're showing me of Iwo Jima, but it looks almost identical except for geographically it's different to Omaha. You know what I mean? It's exactly the same setup, same deal.
First night I was in a hole by myself, scared to death.
Oh, I bet.
If you'd have crawled up to me with a cup of coffee, I'd probably shot you.
Yeah.
And then I heard somebody yell, fix bayonets, and that's when I thought my sphincter muscle then really tightened up.
Yeah.
And I carried a sawed-off shotgun,
How long did you go without sleeping?
I think 3 days.
Jesus Christ. And then that third day it just crashed.
Don't remember.
I don't remember. Wow.
Zippo, we called him Zippo. Come up, Zippo. Bring the Zippo up. I was very fortunate. I probably, if I cheated, I could have got a Purple Heart. But laying out in an OP, we got overhead firearm shells going off over us. And I didn't want to try to get up and go to a hole. And the hole was too far away to crawl to, so I stayed there.
Yeah.
And a piece of shrapnel landed next to me and then bounced and landed in the cheek of my buttocks.
Oh, wow.
But it blistered me and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Until later on I couldn't sit down and whatnot, and I dropped my drawers and the guy said, you got a big ass blister, boss.
Yeah.
So I went to the corpsman to get something put on it. And so he wanted to put me in for a Purple Heart.
Wow.
And I told him no way, because I could never explain to people next
About how you
later
got
on
it.
how the
Yeah.
hell I got a Purple Heart with a blister on my head.
Incredible.
So I declined.
That's a great story.
And probably about the second or third week, people that were in reserve had a chance to get a little religion. When the first flag went up, we didn't know the significance of what that thing was going to be.
It was just somebody taking a
We razzed
photograph.
him about being gung-ho. And,
Yeah.
you know, whatnot. So nobody paid much attention
Yeah.
for, you know.
But then, like I said, the story becomes bigger than the event. You know what I mean? Your myth becomes bigger than the man. It always does. And it's as a photographer, that picture at Iwo Jima is so important because there's so much in it without having to say anything. You see so many different things in that. And yeah, at the time you're like,
Doesn't need a caption.
well, that's the thing. Like at the time, you're like, oh, these guys, whatever. But then you look at it from now, a standing point in hindsight, and you see so many things in it And as a photographer, that is the ultimate goal, because you don't want to have to write what you're trying to say. You want that picture to say it all. And I'm telling you, there are 5-10 pictures ever created that can actually do that 100% in different, so many different directions, and that is one of those photos. So, yeah. Did you know any of the guys in that picture?
Not until later.
Not until later. How many? I mean, I guess it was probably pretty big. I mean, the amount of people that were on Iwo Jima.
3 divisions.
Yeah, 3 divisions. Wow.
Estimated about 18,000 men per division. In 26 days, we had 7,000 Marine casualties and 21,000 Japanese casualties
Wow.
in that length of time.
Wow. Huh. That's incredible. Incredible. Wow. There's that plaque.
But I became bodyguard for a research team in Nagasaki
Okay.
when the war was over. We were stationed in Omura, Japan. I was pulled out the medical team, Navy people, nuclear energy people, medical people from Walter Reed, I guess, and 2 Japanese interpreters and 1 doctor, Japanese doctor. And we were around interviewing victims from the Nagasaki bomb. Pretty bad.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've been to Hiroshima. I've been to the memorial in Hiroshima, and it's a very. I couldn't make it through. I'll just be frank with you. I couldn't go all the way through.
But it saved a million lives.
Oh, it changed. It was it, and they wouldn't. And what? That's the thing about war that I think a lot of people need to be reminded, and I try to remind that, is when you sign up as a soldier, you're signing your line on your name on the dotted line and saying, I will do this what I can and follow orders. The same goes for the enemy. The Japanese people weren't the ones that decided to go to war. It was the people running the show. So many times over and over, what country, you fill in the blank, it's not the people actually doing the dying and the fighting. It's the ones making the decisions. And that's the thing, yeah. How long were you in Japan for?
I think 4 months.
4 months? Yeah. I bet it was a very interesting time to be in Japan.
I picked up some pictures so that they would understand what the structures were like
Oh, yeah.
in comparison. And when I put this up, my Japanese friend told me, he said, do you know what that is? It's a geisha house.
Yeah.
That's a rest house.
And the girls
That's
that sit
all the girls
yep,
lined up.
always at the window.
Yeah. And this is the forerunner of Walmart, I guess. But the stores look like.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Nagasaki.
Yeah, Nagasaki.
It's a fat man. That's the device that did it.
Yeah.
Results of it.
Yeah. It's like I said, the Hiroshima. It's not even. It's impossible. Yeah. It's both sides, you know.
We talked to this guy. I didn't, obviously, but he was interviewed. And he heard the plane, and he looked up, but the plane was gone.
To see what was in
But
there.
the damn device went off at that time.
Wow.
And he blinded.
Wow.
Industry, schoolhouse. Let's see. I got the church. Yep. There's a church in there. It's a Catholic church
Inside Japan?
inside Japan.
Before we got there?
Before we got there. And it had to be low key because the Japanese didn't want it. It was a Christian church. And That's it.
Wow.
The Japanese have been trying to curtail that particular faith, I guess, for many years. And I said, we did it in 8 seconds.
Yeah. Wow.
But it's online. St. Mary's, I think it is.
What the church was in Japan?
There, Nagasaki. This is school. One of the research people want to go to the school, and he was more interested in residue damage than injuries of people.
Leftover, yeah.
So we went up to the school, and while we were there, we could hear movement in one of the other floors. So we climbed the stairs and got up there, and there was a woman in bad shaped skin coming apart, crawling around, moaning, delirious. And then Japanese interpreters and doctors approached her. Everybody else was in medical identification clothes except me. I was in my Marine uniform with a weapon. And that woman was carrying a charred baby.
Oh, man.
And when they questioned her to find out what the hell was going on, why she was here, and she had been looking for one of her children.
Wow.
And then she saw me and stood up and stumbled and held that child up in front of me and said, "Doshite, doshite," meaning, why me?
Oh, that's awful. Golly. That's awful. Considering what you went through at Midway and then Iwo Jima and then going to that afterwards, that's some tough stuff, man.
That image is still there.
Yeah, I don't think it'd ever be away, but that's the thing, like it wasn't, I mean, one of those incidences for a person would be enough for an entire lifetime, and you went through 3 of them.
I had enough points to get out, and that did it for me.
Yeah, I bet.
But I stayed out 3 months.
Yeah, and then you went back in?
I went to the Army. A major friend of mine said, "Come on. He said, I'll show you something." So he introduced me to the intelligence school. And I went to Fort Hollenberg in Baltimore, counterintelligence school.
Wow.
So on the 3rd month, I found out that I wasn't going to make it because I couldn't learn Morse code quick enough.
Okay.
But my photography slipped through, and I went to UCLA. They sent me to UCLA.
Wow.
So I spent 3 months in the motion picture industry.
Wow, that's cool. So that'd have been what, early 50s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Before that.
Late 40s. Wow.
And when I came out of there and reported back to Fort Hollenberg, then they assigned me to the State Department. And my first assignment was the Greenland Ice Cap.
Wow. I bet it doesn't look like that now. Wow.
And I went on an expedition across the Greenland Ice Cap with foreign people.
Wow.
And what we were doing, these were friendlies, we were deciding whether or not to put the dew line up there, early warning system.
Yeah.
But we were making bore samples, whatnot. Everything was moving on the ice cap.
That's incredible.
Crevasses. And I had that for a while for...
That's a cool looking truck. That's incredible.
Tucker Snowcat.
Snowcat, is that what it's called? Yeah.
You never shut that sucker off.
You never want it, you just
You
let it
fueled
on.
it,
Fueled it running.
Added oil to
Yeah.
it. Never shut it
And
off.
I bet it always worked.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We in audio stuff, the older the amplifier, more than likely has not been turned off for decades, and it will work forever. But the moment you turn that damn thing off and try to turn it back on, it will work again.
But I was a motion picture cameraman. I had an IMO camera, 100 roll of film. I had adapters. I could put 400 rolls in magazines. But it was so cold, I had to carry rolls of film under my armpits. And we devised, we rasped, and I got, we had experimental clothes, and we cut them, one of them up, so that I had a bra, and I had two film cans,
in each one.
and each wrapped around me to keep it warm.
Yeah, that's incredible. Oh, that's so cool.
And the camera was hand wound. We couldn't use batteries.
Yeah.
The coldest it got when I had film break in the camera, and there's no oil in the camera, no graphite. It's dry. Graphite wouldn't even freeze.
Yeah. Wow.
Prestone froze up there.
Wow.
Pure Prestone.
That's cold.
But our coldest that we recorded was 88 below.
That's incredible.
I'm from Green Lights Camp, and then I went to Korea.
Korea.
I was a motion picture cameraman then. And I was there for 3 years.
Wow.
So, covered the peace conferences in Panmunjom.
Wow.
Had all kinds of screwy escapades.
Yeah.
I jumped out of planes and with the 187th Art behind the lines.
Filmed. Yeah. Intelligence gathering. I'm assuming, right? Yeah. Wow.
That's what I look like.
Yeah. You got that camera. That's incredible.
This particular picture, grenade,
Yeah, I can see it.
incoming.
Oh, wow.
And my still cameraman that was always with me shot that picture. And that's when he saw the grenade coming. Grenade! So everybody hunched down, we'd look for it, and that thing bounced and landed underneath the tripod, underneath that gun.
Oh, my.
Couldn't reach for it. Everybody just froze, waiting for that son of a bitch to take off. It was a dud.
It never went. Oh, man. Wow.
But we picked that gun up.
Oh, yeah. And got the hell out of there. That's incredible.
Scenes, and that's what I look like there.
Yeah, with the camera.
I carried my own weapon, 38
Yeah.
Hogleg. Whenever the infantry,
That is a big gun.
we'd get a target, they'd say, "Fox, come on up here, come on here." And of course, the infantry I was assigned to, or I assigned myself to, because I carried a card to cover the conflict in Korea.
Uh-huh.
I could go anywhere. But they knew my background a little bit from Marine Corps.
Uh-huh.
So the infantry guys would take my weapon and they line my revolver up on the target they wanted to shoot at,
Wow.
rather than use their rifle.
Yeah.
Just to use something different than target practice.
Yeah. Not Army issued.
So,
That's all right.
rugged scenes.
Wow, yeah.
When I found somebody wounded that was going to be evac all the way, I would stay with them then. I'd go right back all the way to MASH Hospital and follow them through. And then when they got go on a plane, then I'd send the film with them, and I had courier pouches and notified Tokyo that he was coming
Yeah.
and what I had. But that's a MASH hospital.
Yeah. I see it. The nurse.
We'd get in trouble once in a while. We'd go in to the mortuary department and swipe all the damn ice so we could cool our beer.
That was the beer.
Or, these are refugees fleeing from northern Korea.
Uh-huh.
They would block the roads. We had a hell of a time advancing. We had to bring a tank up and fire over the top of them to scare them off.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the tanks would get out in the rice paddies,
Yeah. Yeah.
and in amongst them would be infiltrators.
Hidden among them.
And
Yeah.
there was more troubles.
Yeah, because you couldn't tell the difference.
This farmer had been there for the advance up and back and forth, and the interpreters were talking to him, trying to get information from him. And one of the questions, why the hell do you stay here? He said, if you were a blade of grass, who cares whether a cow eats you or a horse eats you? That was his picture.
It's true. Wow.
But that's all he had was his daughter left there.
Yeah. That's incredible.
And these people, thousands coming
Yeah.
down.
Oh yeah.
The South Koreans did this,
Wow.
and this was the suspect infiltrators because they didn't have families, and that you didn't have a family.
That makes, yeah.
That's it.
Wow.
Sometimes they'd find weapons on them.
Yeah, but sometimes they wouldn't. Yeah.
I was not supposed to pick up or fool with the civilians. None of us were. But when you see a child alone or a woman alone with a child struggling, I would stop and either give them some sea rations or water or whatever. If I had an interpreter with me, I'd talk to them, and they were just trying to get away. If there was just two people, I could put them in my Jeep, cover them up, and I would bring them back to where I was in Daegu or Seoul or whatnot, and turn them over to the MASH hospital. Kids would be taken care of, and then they would move them into a church group.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just got a Phillips and a pair of needles and all I use. It's like that. It's got a little jam up, you know, that switch just slides in there, take the jam up and it comes right out.
This little girl had both of her knees broken by the enemy
Oh wow.
and raped.
Golly. She can't be more than 10 or 11.
This we came upon when I was coming back, and the mother had got into the ditch because of overhead fire. She wasn't struck, but she must have had a heart attack. There was no wounds on her, but she was dead.
Oh wow.
And there were two of her children there.
Wow.
I couldn't do anything for the mother.
Yeah.
I left her, gathered up all the belongings, put the kids in the Jeep, and brought them back into town.
Yeah.
And I got in then to the church group. Kids didn't know how to feed themselves when they got the warm food. Had to be fed. But they're all washed, cleaned, and taken care of. I think I might have some Christmas scenes in there.
Yeah.
But I'll stop and talk about this one. This is in Seoul, and we were after snipers. So I went out with the sniper group, anti-sniper, and this was a group of MPs. So in the Seoul building of the wreckage, there's snipers up there shooting at the Americans. And we came upon this little boy, and he was waving us off, and he was pointing down to his mother in front. His mother had been shot by one of the snipers. So he explained to our interpreter what was going on. So somewhere in one of the buildings was a sniper, but he hadn't been shooting at us because it was 15 or 20 of us armed. So as we moved in then up into the buildings, he was sitting on an explosive device. He couldn't get off of it.
Wow.
He explained then what was going on. So the EOD then had to come up. So they got him off with there safely.
That's good.
But that's where the snipers were hidden, and the kid was down in here.
Oh wow.
And that's how quick things would change on you. You go
Yeah.
off, smoking a cigarette,
Yeah,
la-di-da,
yeah.
shooting the breeze about a girl, all of a sudden, bingo.
Wow.
Christmas Eve one time, the nurses and the people working in the church brought the kids in for Christmas Eve. The men had gotten things from the PX and were alerted to the kids were coming. So we had a GI dressed up as and the kids, the symbol of Santa Claus was well known even before we got there.
Yeah.
So they would tell stories to the Santa Claus in their language. We found out we had to be an interpreter. So we could answer the kids. So that got changed. Christmas Day, when we had Christmas dinner, the kids came in, unbeknownst to us, thinking that they didn't know any words in English. The nurses and the nuns had taught them all the Christmas carols.
Oh, wow. And they sang them for you guys. That's incredible. That's really cool.
So it wasn't a dry eye in the place.
Yeah, oh, I bet.
So the kids danced for us, did things, and there was often a soldier then would reach over, pick up the kid and put him in his place.
Yeah, that's cool.
Of course, she is very forgiving. You gotta admit that.
After Korea, I was assigned to the Nuclear Energy Commission.
Okay.
Oh, they're done that.
I was sent out to the Pacific to cover all the nuclear shots.
So a lot of those films that you see of nuclear tests, you may have been one behind the camera.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my records carried my experience with Nagasaki.
Yeah.
We talked. I was sent into Los Alamos. I worked for a short time with the physicists when they were working on the drawing boards. And those are the most worried people I ever.
Oh, I bet.
They came in their pajamas to work on something on the draft board.
Yeah.
They didn't tie their shoes. I mean, they were nuts.
But genius. There is a fine line between that, and I'm sure you being around those guys, you saw it firsthand. But the people I meet, sometimes you see some of them that's mad, but you know that they're just on the border of being a genius. It's true with everybody. That's incredible.
I get razzed about that. And once in a while, my friend, I'd mimic him. They say, "See, Fox is gone."
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
But I was sent out there, and I hope I have planes in here. But I was assigned to 3 planes. And I was a project engineer for all the aerial photography. And all we had to do was film the detonations from the air.
Yeah.
I had megaton, hydrogen, the works.
Wow.
We did determine our distance and our altitude according to the size of the weapon.
Yeah. But that still was pretty damn
35
scary.
miles away,
Yeah.
50,000 feet, and we still got shook up.
Oh, I bet every time.
But every time one of these shots went off, the word Deutsche, Deutsche, why me?
Yeah, I bet.
Every time.
I bet. I bet it was. I mean, was it? I bet it was just scary as hell to you to see this and see it developing.
And I thought, what a chain of events that I'm witnessing.
Incredible.
I have this in my living room, shot,
Wow.
enlarged.
That was you? I've seen this before. That's incredible.
The only one time that I ever got a surface shot out there was underwater.
Wow.
We put cameras in like a fire plug tube so we could see what happens below the surface on the hull of a ship.
Wow.
So that was about 20 foot. No big pressure.
Yeah.
And this is the type of plane we used. And these are the cameras.
Wow.
I had 3 planes. They were different altitudes, different distances. So we got one camera recorded with it. Our first time we experimented while we burned up cameras, we burned up film, And I think you probably know what the circle of confusion is in film. Behind the lens, it points right to a point. That's where all that freaking heat would come in.
Yeah.
And it would fry that stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Our film had to be sent back and divided and metal sprockets on the side of the film. Because when these cameras would take off, 2 or 3 milliseconds before the shot would go, it had to be up to speed.
Yeah.
And 1,000,000 frames a second. So there was a tremendous torque.
Yeah.
And we tore up screwed up more cameras than you
I
should.
bet you also developed some pretty new technology to go with that, though.
Digital today.
Yeah.
But those were typical cameras.
Wow.
Bosch and Lomb did our lenses by radio.
Oh.
This camera here, lens got changed so many times by telephone. I mean, that's how quick
Yeah.
the plane would come out.
That jousting was neat though. We need to do that here.
This is Yucca Flats.
Yeah.
No. Maybe they're on horses, man.
I wonder what the hell.
It's gonna sound like that on there. It's all right. I got a lot to go through.
But this was the birth of car seats for kids.
Okay.
We had monkeys, and we put them in bleachers, strap them down. And sometimes they'd wear goggles, sometimes they wouldn't. The goggles would be various lenses. And out in front of them would be a big clacker horn. And my cameras would be out there. So when the shot would get ready to go off, they'd sound that clacker horn loud, and the monkeys would scare and open up their eyeballs. And when the shot was over, optometrists and whatnot rush in there and pull the monkeys out and examine their eyes.
Yeah.
To figure out what to put on the GIs. Also, we had hogs. And the hogs came out of northeastern part of the country. And they had skin nearest to human skin. And I'd have to look it up again, what type of hog that was. But we would put various types of material and clothes on them, uniforms.
See what would protect them. Yep.
So when those go off, shots go off, they'd rush out there and pull the hogs out.
Yeah.
And then we'd advertise them, barbecue tonight.
Pulled pork.
People didn't think that was too funny.
Yeah.
But we did.
I want to have my bike for another 4 years, and I said, I'm done.
He's the guy that just left, the tall, skinny, weird
Oh, okay.
guy.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, he was like, yeah, I put in before all along. And I'm like, well, it could have been missed or overlooked. But I said,
I'll get a
that'll
hold-
be good
yeah.
for in the future because he's always, looking.
Thank you.
Up there at that Midwest place where that
This is one of those shots, and this, all you'll see is dust and radiation falling on them.
Wow.
his old bike was,
That's
They
incredible.
bring troops in, so the shot go off.
Yeah.
Experience.
and he thought he could just renew it, and they won't. We got to do it for a year, so.
When that was over, then I was sent to Europe. And
This morning,
there's a
if it all works out, he's
book and there's a movie on Lady Be Good.
Uh-huh.
But there was a plane found in the Libyan desert. So I was operations NCO of all the photography in Europe. So they sent me down there to see if it was going to be worthwhile. So I got sent into Libya. And this is down where the plane was found. And we landed there and took another plane down there. So I was there about a week. Then I came back and made up a team because we didn't know what the hell to bring down there.
Yeah.
But that plane on a mission during World War II couldn't find their target, so they dumped all their shells, devices in the Mediterranean. When they got back to the airport, it was all closed in, and they called in. The tower thought they were a German plane trying to find them, so they gave them bum information. So they flew on down and ran out of gas.
Oh, golly.
So when that happened, then they decided, the crew, they'd bail out rather than try because they couldn't see.
Yeah.
So they did.
Wow.
The plane landed intact almost by itself.
Wow.
It did by itself. And then we found bodies later on.
Just trailing it.
And research people from oil found the bodies. And they were all walking the wrong way. If they'd have walked to the plane, they were only 20 minutes away from the damn plane.
Oh, golly.
Plane had water, all that crap.
Yeah.
Johnny Dunn's place,
That's incredible.
apparently it's garbage. But Joe
Well, that's the type of plane.
That it was.
Lady be good.
And so that way, it's kind of neat that way.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And we like that. We only
That's
used
its
it for
route.
half that trip because when I got my new Ultra, I couldn't use it.
That's what the plane looked like when they found it.
Wow. It did land intact, except for the tail end, but that's not, you know. Wow.
I borrowed a set from Harvey. He let me use his and his Harley Davidson. And the nice thing about it, I think that's the one that's got the waterproof zipper.
Oh, yeah?
And so I've got a
Many of them had their diaries with them. in the
Yeah.
bottom.
slide that goes on my luggage rack.
Wow.
It's about 12 inches by 24. Keep the bag safe. Put that on there and get a couple extra.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
A
hey,
while, but she's finally-
Sergeant, I appreciate your time today. It was an incredible
I'm
experience.
not sure I understand.
Siri, be quiet.
Never mind.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service, what you've contributed to this country, and for your time today. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
You're welcome. Pleasure to be